There are things, if you do not know, lives cannot be blessed through your hands. Trying in ignorance is a recipe for frustration. That's what many of us are doing. That every time your life does not capture certain results, don't start hunting for answers yet. Go for light, not the coin. Forget about the coin and look for a candle. Forget about the job and look for light. Forget about the courses, look for light. Every time your life is not answering, what you need is access to light. People are not really affected by what happens to them. Listen, and then you write. People are not really affected by what happens to them. They are affected by the meaning they give what happens to them. It is not what happens to people that affects them. It is the definition and the meaning they give what happens to them that causes the pain and the despair. Let me say it again, and then I will dictate it for you to write. People are not really affected by what happens to them. They are affected by the meaning and the definitions and also the interpretations that they tie to what happens to them. Please look up. Don't worry, you will write. What is the difference between falling in church and falling in a restaurant? Young lady, as I'm teaching right now, if the power of God carries you up and lands you down, you get up rejoicing, and even your seatmate say, my God, he has visited you. Versus you fall down in a restaurant. You fell down. The worst fall may even be here. What is the difference? It's not the falling down. It's the meaning that you attach to that experience. That's what causes depression. That's what causes joy. It is never what happens to you that has that power to destroy you. You have associated happenings around your life and you have connected them to certain meanings. There are events that mean failure to you. There are events that mean weakness to you. There are events that mean oppression to you. What is making someone cry is another person's desire. Someone will cry and say, I got only 1 million. Is a meaning you connected to it. That based on your level, 1 million is a testimony of a failure. Whereas for someone, that 1 million, he would talk about it as though, he just got to heaven. Now you write, please. People are not affected by what happens to them. They are affected by the meaning they connect to the happenings. People are not really affected by what happens to them. They are affected by the meaning that they connect to those happenings. This is the reason why comfort and counseling is powerful. What happens when you are comforted? What happens when you are being counseled? Your perceptions are being changed. That's all. The situation is not being solved necessarily. It is your perception. For instance, if you lose a loved one because of the pain, or let me use something more bearable. You lose a job and you get angry, and someone sits with you down and says, do you know, perhaps the Bible says all things work together for good. Is that true? Watch what is happening to you now. The person says, I know the story of someone who lost a job and did not know it was a springboard to the next level. At the end of it, the person who was crying 10 minutes ago is now suddenly rejoicing. Did you give the person a job? No. You changed the meaning associated to that situation. Can I tell you, when you learn this principle, you can laugh through storms. What happens when you make a video and you have only 2 likes or 2 follows? Why do you cry? Abba, all of this, can you imagine? I suffered to preach this message and only 2 people. Are you sure it was only 2 people? What if the first click was a congregation listening to you? But you have, there is a meaning. People are not really affected by what happens, I assure you. Why do you hate to let people know that your father, with all due respect, maybe is some person doing some menial job, and you lie and call him your uncle? No, that's my uncle. My real father is abroad. Why are you telling that lie? It's not necessarily because you are a bad person. There is a meaning. You feel that when you reveal the true status of your father in that lowly estate, it may affect people's perception about your self-worth, and you will lose your sense of significance. That means a secured believer is one who redefines the meaning that you have associated to many things and with many things in your life. Hallelujah.